Aiden in Ohio.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Hi,
Good.
how are you?
Welcome. What's up?
Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
No problem.
I just want to be real quick. I just wanted to talk about the divisive nature of Christianity, because I went to a Catholic school until I was in 8th grade.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it was like when I turned 14, I just kind of realized, like, this is all nonsense. And it was such an easy decision for me. It still baffles me how many people actually still believe. But I'm 18 now.
Mm-hmm.
But I've told my friends, and the reaction kind of surprised me, because the philosophy is holding them back from actually accepting reality and realizing my opinion isn't going to change where I go when I die. And I'm referring to hell.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to know if you could comment on that, and if you had any experiences yourself.
Well, what you're going through is pretty common, I would say. It's for folks that are sort of realizing that it doesn't make sense and it doesn't add up and it's full of holes. Very often there's a stigma or a fallout with friends and family when you're sort of coming out, or when you're saying, "Hey, this doesn't make sense." You'll get a lot of people trying to, think you're deceived, or try to reconvert you, or try to save you, or, oh, you need more church, these sorts of things. And that can be a kind of a ugly situation. I guess my advice is for folks not to do that until you're kind of pretty solid in your beliefs, so that you don't get tossed around too much by the folks, working on you, because they're for better or worse, they've invested in it, right? They've invested in it emotionally, and you are kind of an affront to that investment that they've put into it. You're coming to a conclusion that's outside the scope of what they really want to believe, and and especially when you're a fairly new atheist, it's common to be kind of a bit strident, a bit out, a bit flippant. And it's kind of maybe a disproportionately important when it's a new thing.
I mean, of course, that's not always by choice, because if you tell people, I don't believe in God anymore, a lot of times the people will just demand that you justify that in front of them.
Mm-hmm. I know. They completely switch the burden of proof.
Yeah, so I mean,
it's ridiculous.
I've even had experiences where I may not necessarily have wanted to push my atheism on somebody, but somebody pressed the topic and said, "Oh no, but it doesn't make sense to be an atheist." And sometimes atheists get a reputation of being more strident than they always are.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Just
Sometimes we're arguing from the corner.
Right.
Yeah. I would definitely say one of the major problems is people don't understand what it is. I've got so many different just wrong responses to what an atheist actually is.
Yeah,
they add things like evolution, which has nothing to do with it. It's a simple rejection of proposed gods.
Yeah, and you have to be in a position to educate and be calm if you can, which is frustrating. What for you personally, I would recommend reaching out to other atheists to get involved with local groups if you can. Try to find a local group. We have on our webpage some instructions for doing that. There are online forums, and these are ways to kind of reach out to fellow atheists who many of whom will have been through similar situations, and you can get some support that way and not feel like you're sort of under siege quite so much.
Yeah, I think that would definitely help. I have a few friends, but I would definitely say a majority still have faith. But kind of a point I want to make about hell is only about 1/3 of the whole entire population is Christian. So statistically, every day that God is sending 2/3 of the people He created to eternal torment for simply not believing in Him.
Yeah,
so
well,
I'm with you. It's like everywhere you look, there are contradictions and problems, and that's certainly one of them.
Right.
Yeah, I think
a lot of Christians just choose not to think too hard about that, because it's really very distressing to think that so many people are being sent to eternal torture or whatever they happen to believe hell is.
Yeah, and the doctrine, I think, is especially nasty within families that way, because the family members will be really kind of wrecked by this idea that, oh, my kid is going to be roasting in hell while I'm up in heaven, and that causes some internal conflict. And we got to fix that problem.
There's a tendency to justify this doctrine by saying that by regarding all the people going to hell as outsiders, and so you feel like, well, it's sad for them, but they're not good people like me and my family.
Right.
I know in particular the movie Noah, which we just saw. They go out of their way to show all the awfulness of everybody in the world except Noah, who happens to be living there at the time. Because if you don't
blame
do
the victim,
that, yeah, if you don't blame the victim like that, it's kind of horrible to think that almost everybody in the world died by drowning at that point.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, people are able to not worry about hell so much by considering the hellbound as outsiders, which is why it's especially distressing when you, their close family member, announce yourself to be among them.
Yeah, and this is one of the dark sides of human nature, I say. We do this with propaganda in wars. We vilify the other, right?
Right.
And it's the same sort of mindset. It's pretty sad.
Are you still there?
We might have lost
I
it.
heard a click.
We heard a click. We didn't mean to hang up on you. We've got phone troubles today, apparently. So,
I guess.